Welcome to SMC's Graphic Design 31, Studio 1. In this class, we will be learning the principles of graphic design, and then we're going to apply them to graphic design projects. We're going to start talking about the essential elements of point, line, and plane. Point, line, and plane are the building blocks of design. And from these elements, designers create images, we create icons, textures, patterns, diagrams, animations, and even typographic systems. Pretty much everything we make as a designer is made up of some kind of combination of point, line, and plane. So let's start out talking about point. A point marks a position in space. It takes the form of a dot. Through its scale, its position, and its relationship to its surroundings, a point can express its own identity or even melt into a crowd. Through scale and color of a point, it can become a focal point. You could put text in it to draw the viewer's eye and raise the hierarchy of that text, or it could be small and fade away, giving a sense of depth or even texture. A series of points forms a line. A mass of points forms a texture, a shape, or a plane. In black and white, tiny points of varying size create shades of gray. We really rely on points for modern-day printing, as it's the dots of colors that are placed next to each other or overlapping that create the printed colors we see. In typography, the point is a period, the definitive end of a line. Here, series and series of points come together to make the word hope. If you squint, the point becomes a plane and defines a space, and in the negative space, we see the word hope. They are articulated well enough in their shape and form that we are able to read this. And here are some examples of points found out in our environment. This is actually going to be your first exercise, the PLP assignment, or point, line, plane assignment. You're going to be asked to go out into your environment and find 9 examples of each, point, line, and plane. And then there's a template provided in the module that you're going to use to organize your examples. Here are some more fun examples of points found in the environment. You want to challenge yourself to find things that are interesting, find things that really do define and represent a point found out in your environment. Then a line is an infinite series of points. A line has lengths, it can connect 2 points, and lines appear at the edges of objects where 2 planes meet. It is important to remember, point is really the building block of a line, and a line is really the building block of planes. But these things all connect, and as we start looking at how these things are applied and how we use them in our designs, you're going to notice that there's a lot of overlap, and we really leverage and apply these different principles and these different elements to create the dynamic designs that we're really striving to create. Lines can be drawn with a brush, a pen, a pencil, or most often now a mouse, or even a digital code. They can be straight or curved, continuous or broken, and each of these different variations provides a different feeling, a different emotion. And in typographic layouts, characters grouped together form lines of text. So to be a line, they just have to have that quality of length. These continuous lines determine the outline and form. Their density is helping us read, but also sense or feel the meaning of the word fear. And here, these lines are being used to create the word tension. The lines overlap, and they're drawn taut between these different little nails. And we get that sense of how the tension is what's holding this word together, but making us see and feel the meaning of the word through this design. Here are some lines found in our environment. You can see that lines almost start to become textures even, and they really give you a feeling of, in this case, of accomplishment. And here are some more fun lines found out in our environment. So again, I want you to strive and start paying attention and noticing how these simple elements of point, line, and plane really are the building block of everything that we see and then everything that we use in our designs. So now let's talk about a plane. A plane is a flat surface extending in height and width. A plane can be parallel to the picture surface or it can skew and appear to recede into space. A plane can be solid or it could be perforated. It can be opaque or transparent. It could be textured or smooth. Even a field of text is a plane. It's built from these points and lines of type. You can add color or you can add a gradient. That's going to give a sense of 3-dimension. You could add pattern. All these different things are options. And again, these are things that you're going to apply and leverage in your designs to be sure that they are communicating effectively. A graphic object that encloses three-dimensional space has volume. It has height, width, and depth, and the angle at which the elements recede reflects the position of the viewer. Now, this is actually just done in 2D, so it's really our job as designers to create this illusion of depth, this illusion of having volume. And here are some examples of planes found out in the environment. It is important to realize that a circular plane is really just an oversized point. When you change the size and the scale of a point is when it becomes a plane. And you can also see again this overlapping of these different elements, because you look at this and you see planes, but you can also see lines. Here you see the planes, but in between these planes are the lines. So why are we doing the point line plane exercises, and how do designers use them to solve problems? Well, here's some examples. These are patterns that are made simply from points, lines, and planes. And in this one, you get this sense of movement. Here's another pattern made of points, lines, and planes. And in the negative space, we see those lines appearing, and we can see through scale appear that the lines are thinner and they get thicker. And again, this starts to give us a sense of motion or of movement and making it more dynamic. Here's another pattern that simply uses points, lines, and planes to create this really fun, playful, with quite a bit of negative space pattern. This book cover features geometric graphics through its use of points and planes and lines. And color. Here, these planes of color help the viewer navigate the information and to make connections. Massimo Vignelli designed the original New York City subway map, and this really relies on points and lines to help New Yorkers and visitors navigate this incredibly complex system. He reduced it to its essential elements so it could take this complex system and make it easier to navigate, easier to understand. These fun color blocks and planes isolate the information and draw attention to the different parts of these layouts. How about this super groovy typeface? This is all out of lines. It even has this really great sense of movement. And then here it's being applied to a series of album colors, and through the color choices you get this really great vibration, visual vibration. So often graphic designers are going to frequently be using typography in their work. They often are required to communicate using visuals alone. And this can be difficult at first, but a strong understanding of the principal designs and the emotional reactions that they can create can help you leverage these ideas to communicate more clearly and universally. And that's really what we're doing as graphic designers. We are communicating visually, and we're trying to do more than just communicate. We're really trying to communicate meaning. So we really do leverage all these different principles and these elements so that we can successfully reach our goal of communicating meaning. So for your very first exercise, it's point, line, plane spotted out in the world. You're going to use each of these elements, point, line, and plane, and you're going to search to find 9 examples from the world in which you live. You can document this with your digital camera, most likely your phone. And then you're going to use the provided InDesign template and insert the images into each of the square on the appropriate page and fit the images accordingly. For instance, if you're really focusing on the points, you may want to super duper crop it in just to see that circular point. But if you're working with lines, you may zoom out more so that we can see the series of lines. And particularly the planes, that may require you to zoom out as well so we can really capture the planes and the edges of the planes. In the text box in the lower left, include your name and a short description of each of the items labeled 1 to 9. While working on this file, be sure to package your work, because InDesign only links to your files. It doesn't embed them unless you take that extra effort. But generally speaking, you want it just to be linked. And if you package it, it'll put it all into one folder so none of your files become unlinked. And then when you're done, you want to export it as a PDF. Although if you package it, it will also have a PDF in that folder. And I want that to be uploaded to Canvas. So name it with your first name last name, no, actually I wanted last name, first name, PLP, and then upload it to the assignment on Canvas. And of course, if you have any questions, please reach out. This is the template you're going to be using, and it is an InDesign file. So you'll be using InDesign for this very first assignment. And then again, when you complete it, you're going to export it as a PDF and then upload that to the assignment on Canvas. Of course, reach out as needed. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and have fun with this, okay?